The kind of financial impact of being a hospitality worker in the face of a pandemic was difficult. We had a lot of businesses that were trying to get rid of like 95% of their workforce, and it was going to be done by July. Our members prevented that from happening and got people another at least 2 months worth of furlough, which in the scale of things was massive. There have been big wins within hospitality when workers and workplaces came together.
Working in a cinema is a pretty stressful job. It's quite precarious. It's all 0 hours, low pay, which makes it really difficult to plan your life. We ended up forming the Cineworld Action Group, and from that we wrote an open letter to the company, which ended up getting like 700 signatures from people all across the UK. And eventually we were put on the furlough scheme, which was like honestly a lifesaver for so many of us. And a lot of the time people just haven't heard of unions. Like, I knew what they were before I worked at Cineworld, but like I'd never been involved in it. So I think like this presented a new way for people to get engaged with, like, you know, forming staff collectives.
I think most call centre workers would experience the issue of monitoring. Time is so managed, so the amount of time you go to the bathroom, if I go to the toilet for too long, I get a message saying, "Where have you been?" Get in touch with the call centre collective. A sort of campaign within the trade union movement to recognise the need to organise amongst precarious workers, in this case call centre workers. If we want change, if we want better conditions, if we want better pay, then workers have to come together and do that.
We have been key workers for a while now, since the pandemic began. It's supposed that you can choose whenever you want to work, but that's not true at all. I mean, you have certain times that it's good to go out, and other times that you can be for hours out in the street and you don't make any money. I mean, we really think that unionized workers is absolutely necessary. We don't know about the algorithm. We don't know about how really the application works inside. And it's one of the main battles that we are having about data and about how they really rule our way to work. Here in Edinburgh, we have the Workers' Observatory. And I think it's quite interesting because it's not a union, it's more about to have an organisation that really can see the city and watch the city.
The Scottish Tourism Workers League, a lot of what we've been doing is looking at the Highlands and Islands where the situation with precarious work is worsened by the situation with precarious housing, a lack of affordable housing. I think that in the tourism industry, there's lots of people think that unions just kind of aren't for them. One of the things we'd like to do is get workers in touch with each other, particularly now that they might be more isolated from each other. To let them start having that conversation and get that ball rolling and develop that confidence about talking about work-related issues and organising.
And it shouldn't be that these like lowest paid members of the cinema industry are paid so low and we're treated so badly, because the industry doesn't exist without us.
I want to go back to work, but I want to go back to a changed industry or be in the industry and start changing it.
It's about how we work with these companies and how the future can be for the workers. It can be completely different.
To make some effort to organise, I know it can be tricky, and I know depending on the call centre you're with, it can feel dangerous, it can feel like you're risking your job. But I'd also say the alternative is we keep getting paid minimum wage, we keep having exploitative work conditions and unsafe work practices. So nothing changes unless we do something.
You shouldn't be a precarious worker, and you shouldn't have to be exploited in your workplace. And the best way to be able to prevent that happening is joining a union, but not just joining a union, it's being a proactive member within your union.